introduce Pamela Ongwech, one of my very dear friends. So a few weeks ago, I was reading GlobeMed at Columbia's Grow 2013 blog. I'm really short. So anyway, I was reading this summer's Grow blog, and they had a post profiling all the different members of Pamela's household, of whom there are many. And after writing little bios about each of them, the Grow team made sure to include some fun questions. Their favorite animal, their dream vacation spot, their favorite thing about Pam's house. They also asked them what superpower they could have if they could have any superpower, which of course always prompts some interesting answers. So what was Pamela's response? Pam said, "I'd have an amplified voice. Amplified in terms of strength. Voices can unify people and make anything possible." For those of you who don't know much about Pamela or about Gula Women's Economic Development and Globalization, or what we call GWEDGE, Pamela's wish for an amplified voice embodies her personality and her work. She started GWEDGE in 2004 after witnessing the human rights atrocities, specifically those directed towards women, during the civil war in northern Uganda against the LRA. GWEDGE now serves over 150,000 individuals through 8 different project areas focusing on health, human rights, psychosocial support and counseling, research and advocacy, and economic empowerment. But GWEDGE started with just a few women under one mango tree, brought together by Pamela's determination to make their voices heard and spur change within their communities. As a member of last year's Grow team, I remember the first time I experienced Pamela's ability to empower women using her words. We were sitting with a few groups of beneficiaries in Palema Parish, including women's groups, youth groups, and men's groups. During our discussion with an HIV-positive mothers group, Pamela asked them what they had gained from GlobeMed and GWEDGE's HIV/AIDS prevention project, and what they felt the project was lacking. After listening to most of the women as they told her that they needed livelihood support and nutritional education, Pamela came up with a solution to their problems, one that would help these women feed their malnourished children and give them economic agency. Of course, I knew that grassroots meant from the bottom up, addressing the problems of the poor with the solutions of the poor, but this was the first time that the actions behind the words really hit me. Pamela encouraged these women to be heard and used her voice and their voices to unify them towards a solution for sustaining their community and themselves. Pamela's leadership within her community led me to think about my role as co-president and how to amplify the voices within my own chapter. The way that Pamela asked the opinions of each and every woman in the group made me recognize the significance of the contributions of each and every member of GlobeMed at Columbia. Just as GWEDGE empowers its community to speak and unite, the leadership of our chapter needed to do the same. We needed to use a grassroots approach to help our members understand their importance within the movement for health equity and the importance of the movement itself. This meant asking them for their opinions about our project, our campaigns, our campus presence, informing them about what the GROW team saw on the ground, the relationships they formed with GWEDGE staff, and allowing our chapter members to participate in conversations about our beneficiaries' lives and needs. Listening to Pamela's interaction with just one HIV-positive mothers group brought me to the realization that whether it is a women's group in northern Uganda or a student group in New York, amplifying voices empowers, connects, and unites people. Our chapter members, GWEDGE, and our beneficiaries all participate in one partnership. The amplification of voices can only strengthen our unity, and as Pam said in her response to our Grow Team superpower question, the unity of voices can make anything possible. So Pam, I don't think that you need to wish too hard for that superpower. You already have an amplified voice that has touched thousands in your own community, hundreds more across the world, and has made every member in our chapter more thoughtful and more discerning. So now I'm honored to welcome Pamela, whose voice will undoubtedly amplify all of ours. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm grateful to be here today, and I want to welcome everybody to Uganda. And I want to welcome everybody everybody to Gulu, which is northern Uganda, on behalf of all GlobeMed partners who are in northern Uganda. Please, the door is open. We expect to have you anytime. I also want to present my team. I have a staff who is working in partnership with our Columbia chapter team, and she's called Franny. Franny, you could get up. Everything that happened yesterday, every discussion that we held here, and then I think that there is one opportunity in terms of space that we could connect as one of the strategies to help us grow, and that is mentorship. So I'm going to talk about the value of mentorship. Who is a mentor? I think that a mentor is a person that provides expertise and experiences. However, the experiences includes both positive and negative experiences, which is both success as well as failures. Primarily, a mentor helps the mentee clarify career goals and carry out a plan to reach the goal of sharing insight of knowledge. Think about a mentor as a learning leader. I was thinking also that because everybody needs a mentor, so everyone needs somebody to mentor and facilitate learning processes in their life, rather than someone who passes information to the mentee, because mentoring is a goal-oriented process. So mentoring is very valuable experience for both parties, and it's very valuable experience for both students and organizational partners who are working with the student apparently. Mentoring set out to capture the informal learning, knowledge, experience, network, making it exceptionally effective developmental tool for organizations, partnerships, groups, and individuals, including students. So that means a mentor provides both professional and personal support. I want to talk about the responsibility of a mentor. A mentor should be able to provide guidance based on past experience, should be able to create positive relationship and climate of open communication, should be able to help the mentee identify problems and solutions, offer constructive feedback in a supportive way, should be able to share stories, including mistakes, should be able to refer the mentee to outsource other support elsewhere to complement the gaps, because sometimes a mentor does not know everything. Listening closely and carefully to the person you are mentoring is also one of a very good skill, and you should be able to come to an engagement and understanding of mentorship relationship. The value of a mentor. There are numbers of benefits to building a mentor relationship, because mentors can do a lot of things to your career. They can help guide you in a project, help identify resources, including referring you to where your needs can be solved. In our program, we've seen mentor helps develop partners' strategic thinking, connections and contact, resources, and having opportunities. Having a mentor provides people with an open space in which to raise issues, to tackle challenges, and nurture growth. Mentors encourage people to explore their needs, motivations, desires, skills, and thought processes to assist them in making real lasting change. Mentors are also supportive and non-judgmental of the person and their views, including lifestyle and aspirations. Mentors encourages people to develop supporting relationships and network to achieve their goals. What makes effective mentor is in practice that an effective mentor should provide a spectrum of learning and supporting behaviors from challenging and being a critical friend to being a role model. From helping to build networks and personal behaviors to being there to listen. From helping work out what they want to achieve to planning how they can bring that change about. That means people must get experienced mentors. People used to select older people in the past because they think that somebody who is older could be the best mentor. But I promise you, even an older person needs a mentor. So what matters is the resources, because relationships should have meaningful interactions. How does mentoring fit within GlobeMed modules? GlobeMed organization has a mission to promote global health through harnessing the passion and resources of college students to promote health around the world. And they have achieved their objective by partnering with organizations across country through fundraising, research, training, and volunteering, with a vision that everyone has the opportunity to not only survive but excel. This mission and vision fits very well within the mentoring framework. The students are our future generations who are already surfacing with passion to change the world and contribute to life and improve well-being. We therefore need to mentor our young generation so that they can deliver and believe in themselves. We need to mentor them through personal effectiveness with processes that will be helping them to ask valuable questions. We realize sometimes that we need to help the student and accompany them through a process where they can ask questions like, who am I? What can I do? How can I do this? With whom and with which resources and potentials where they could tap from. When they begin to ask this question, to me it is clear that they build confidence where their skills and innovation shall surface because they have space to test their ideas. And how do they have space to test their ideas? I think it's our responsibility as well that we partner with students and we need to give them space where their ideas will open doors for professional effectiveness, which includes aspects of their interest like working on a project, managing a budget, working on research, issues like business plan and personal financing, which is enhancing thinking and enabling them to have creativity, problem solving, and decision-making processes. This will turn around and help the organization themselves discover options and opportunity that they never existed. I want to pace on here and give you an example with what we are doing with Columbia University. Our project is not only based on the resources that the students are fundraising. We are trying to tap potential from everywhere around, adding value to the project. We look at non-food item, non-financial item, the things that the student can do to add value to what we are doing. And I would say nobody should undermine the power of the student. Even if you partner with students, I think we need to create space for growth because this will always translate back. There is wealth of experience with students that always remain untapped by partners and other organizations. But working with students closely shall build what they need, like physical connections for opportunities. They didn't have similar to the institutions where they have been. So what we think is that we also need to look at students not as people fundraising money, but we should be able to transform their lives and let them develop and grow professionally, and that they can realize themselves in the future. Mentoring is different from coaching. Mentoring is also different from counseling and then teaching. However, I think that a good mentor should have most of these qualities. And then, lastly, I also want to say that if you need to be mentored, you need to ask for it. This is very important. Sometimes when we work, we assume that we are either helping you work or coaching you or counseling you, but you might need to be mentored. And you should be very clear, openly request and say, I need to be mentored by you. So you need to select a mentor yourself after understanding that the person you're selecting has the quality of what you want. I am very proud today to speak about my partnership with Columbia University. I will never stop being proud about it. I want Maya to stand up. Right, I understood you. This is actually almost everywhere. What is happening is that sometimes what you are explaining, after signing MOU with a student, then you treat this partnership based on MOU, not opening other space. And that partnership is not very fruitful. It's good that the MOU should be respected, but I think that that is what is making you begin to see this partnership and look at students as donors. You would want the money to do the work. And then what else? There's going to be no other relationship. Most of the doors. And that's why I think the partnership with GlobeMed chapter is also different with other partnerships, because you as the institutions, you have the right to direct the MOU, especially in terms of the project, to see that the project is supporting the beneficiary in the community accordingly. And that means the little about fundraising yesterday, we have never found enough for ourselves, and there will always not be enough in terms of donation. So that's one thing which is really will affect that, if that is how you look at that partnership relationship. I have met, I remember meeting, I just made a phone call, and I said, how are the students doing? And he told me, you know, Pamela, the student asks a lot of questions. You need to respond to all the questions coming out of 5 students. And student as student, I've always told them, this is not a classroom, this is work, so if we work and we cannot finish tomorrow, we come back. You know, this is a line based on MOU, based on deliverables, ability to do it. And I know it is a challenging thing to do within an institutions where everything, or maybe employees are recruited based on terms of references, and they will want to see whether I should do this and that. But I think we should move out of working in that module doesn't work for the program, for the partnership, and then for the student. And that also helps the student fundraise. The last thing I wanted to tell you, to help the student raise however much money we want. The capacity is with us. The information is with us. The data is with us. The beneficiary is with us. And we only need to work with tools and processes that will help the student tap this information and use them for fundraising. And this is the best thing we can do. We have received more than what we have always planned. We started our chapter with only $5,000, but now we are beyond that. And before, it was a problem, because it is true, I understand what the different organizations go through. This partnership is not providing everything. There is no car park in your compound to take your staff to do the work. The project cannot pay salaries for the staff, because if you budget logistical support, administrative costs, everything on this project, then you finish the money before it has even reached the field. So you need to add value to that, and that is what I'm talking about, for you to see results in what you're doing. And what I am also saying is that we need to see results in terms of transformation beyond the beneficiary and up to the student, and also to us.
Thanks, Pam. I think I'm going to take advantage of my position to ask the last question. And I think it's a question a lot of us would probably ask. We have one more? Okay. I'll let you go first then.
Yeah, thank you, Pamela. Actually, mine is not a question. It's like complimenting what you have said. I've been handling GlobeMed students and interns for about 5 years. And we have had a lot of experience actually in handling these students. And for us, we handle students actually from over 6 countries, from Europe, from North America, all over. And one of the critical aspects the partners have to learn is you have to orient these students very well as soon as they come. The first thing is to orient them, to make them understand the culture. Because like you said, there are some questions even other people will fail to answer. You know, you go to the field, you go to a school, all children have no shoes. Then you find somebody asking, you know, who has taken their shoes, you know? So those are some of the questions. Then, you know, like, we have field workers, then they come and ask and say, are these people crazy? Why are they asking these questions? So you need to orient them properly. These are 2 different kinds of settings. The developed world and the developing world. What we mean by being underdeveloped is what you are coming here to see. And partners have to learn that these people are coming to learn. Everything they see is a learning experience, you know? So actually recently we are just going with some, I happen to be in Kampala, they are medical students. So we reached Mbarara, you have seen those long-horned cows. They had to say, first stop. Why are those horns very long? They are abnormal, you know? So all these things you need to understand. So you just need to know that when you go there, you will also have to ask why those buildings are so tall in the sky. You know, it's the same thing. So we just need to understand we're in different parts of the world. So when you go there, they have to orient you, and when they come here, you have to orient them and expect any kind of crazy question.
Thank you very much.
All right, Pam, final question. Will you adopt me? That's the real question, that's all I have.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Everyone give it up for Pam, please.
Yeah, thank you. If you
Okay, sure.
Let's squeeze in the last question. Yes, Pamela. Given the scarcity of resources and time, I'm wondering how you're able to manage the post-membership relationship and how important that is to you as an organization and an individual.
Okay, thank you. I think the resources is scarce, but usually what we take care of is the relationship. I want to let you know that relationship, trust, confidence building is the beginning of every door. If you trust a person and you have a good relationship, everything can happen within unavailable resources. But the most challenging thing is to begin it. If you begin the process how I manage it is that, I give you one example. Maya doesn't call me anymore. That is as simple as that. Isn't that clear? She only calls me when she's coming to Uganda, and that's it. But instead, she calls me when she realizes there is an opportunity. And that closes the gap of what you're talking about, minimum resources. So sometimes we need to sacrifice for certain things to happen. And when we do that, then we have many of the people that will take up our space. I remember talking about this in Chicago, that when I went to the US Embassy for my visa, that was some years back, I found a GlobeMed student at the embassy. Isn't that surprising? So when I said I was going for Global Health Summit, it was not a big deal. So this is how everything works. We first need to build good relationship, trust, and confidence, then the rest of the things happen. And then the last thing I wanted you to know is that through that relationship, in a mentorship relationship, you don't finish the whole process yourself. I don't have all the knowledge around me, but I can refer someone to where I know that there is good knowledge more than myself. And that also works because I will follow up to see that that is done. If you have other questions, you'll get my card and we will continue talking about it. Thank you.
Conversation. I think that on your topic of trust, Pam, the foundation of the relationship that I think we've been able to build is, as you said, trust, but that started out with kept promises. And the first promise that you make is the promises that you write on your memorandum of understanding, which are how much money you're going to raise, the things that you're going to do, how you're going to report. And that over the early years of kept promises, that's how you begin to trust that you both have each other's best interests at heart at all times. So that Pam knows when I call her, it's because I've thought about an opportunity that I think is worth her time, and I want to bring her into it, and the same way in the other direction. And so we've been talking a lot about relationship building and mentorship. All this is incredibly important, but I think that there's an element of integrity here that is incredibly important for us as students to learn, because it's the foundation of everything going forward. So I would say when you start a mentorship relationship, understand that the basis of it is kept promises. Think about the promises that you're making, the commitments that you make, and be willing to stand by them, because without that trust, you can't have that interaction. And you don't have something that lasts, even when we don't talk that often, because I know you're talking to 60 Columbia students, but that we always are able to understand that when we call upon each other, it's for something that we understand is in each other's best interest and is with love and care. So just, I think, something to take back to your chapters, and sometimes it's hard to hold on to why are we fundraising, why are we doing all of this, and it is for the beneficiaries of the projects, but even more, I think it's in terms of long-term sustainability for the health of that relationship, and so that you can show that you are going to stand by each other, and that every investment is going to double more than you could ever imagine because you will walk together. So just wanted to add that. Thank you so much, Pam.
Thank you so much. Seriously, one last time for Pam, please. We just need a few minutes to transition things and we'll get started.
I'm so excited and honored to be able to be here with you guys on the last day of the East Africa Forum. I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have, and that you are taking away a piece of new knowledge, a new friendship, or at the bare minimum, the realization that there is an entire network of partners, student partnerships, network, and really the world as a whole. Time and time again, we have seen that walking together will take us infinitely further than walking alone. Although there is a myriad of communication tools available, and even though our generation is more connected than any other before us, sometimes it can be hard to foster effective communication between organizations when they may lie thousands of miles apart. Nevertheless, there is too much potential in collaboration between GlobeMed partner organizations to let this opportunity pass by untouched. That is why we at the National Office are so excited to share with you this new communication platform that we believe will transform the way our network communicates with each other, cultivating a supportive online GlobeMed community from all corners of the globe like never before. This platform was developed by one of GlobeMed's closest organizational friends, BigMarker, a startup company based in Chicago that is helping millions of people around the world to connect. BigMarker was born from a personal story. In 2008, BigMarker's founder, Zusong Mai, was helping his mom fight cancer for the second time. Unable to leave his house during the most difficult parts of her treatment, they needed the support of others. They needed someone who had been through this, someone who could give them hope that everything would be okay. Unable to find personal support from real people in his time of need, Zusong started building BigMarker to help others around the world leave their mark and change the world around them. BigMarker aims to allow organizations like GlobeMed to connect, communicate, and collaborate in order to make their mark on the world. Like us, they believe that making a big mark requires more than one person, a community working together towards a common goal. When people collaborate, big things happen, and we believe that BigMarker is the perfect integrated platform in which to do so. Capabilities of the BigMarker platform in order to fully understand how this platform will foster collaboration. Then we'll walk you through how to use the most basic and most important features that you'll probably be using most often. So the BigMarker platform provides all the tools that you all, as partners, students, and supporters, need to connect, communicate, and collaborate with each other. You can schedule group video calls, you can plan and organize events on a central and shared calendar, you can message individual members or groups of people, and you can easily share information and files with the entire network. The features are continually being updated, and I'm sure that there will be even more awesome features in the months and years to come. So BigMarker is organized into groups called communities. Communities are essentially an aggregate of individuals sharing a vision and hope for the future. BigMarker uses communities as a central online place to connect and work together towards common goals. Communities coordinate, share, learn, network, and make a bigger impact together. Our community is called GlobeMed Partner Organizations. Every one of the partner organizations sitting in this room is able to join this community as an individual representing your organization. Eventually, all GlobeMed's individual communities, from the National Office community to the Grow intern community, will be aggregated into a network, showing the connections between the many levels of GlobeMed's multidimensional movement towards global health equity, and fostering an open flow of communication and resources across our network. As I'm sure you have discerned by now, our goals are fairly simple: to allow you all to be able to quickly and easily communicate with any partner organization across the world. We hope to guide GlobeMeders around the globe as we cultivate and engage in online community for the very first time. We expect that BigMarker will be a simple means of collaboration between GlobeMed partner organizations working in similar regions or implementing projects in similar impact areas. This platform will be a place to share best practices or to discuss challenges that you are facing. From messaging to file sharing, we believe that BigMarker will facilitate cross-community connections and collaboration in order to help us all reach new heights. Okay, so early this morning, an email was sent to all partner organizations with a link inviting you to join GlobeMed's community called GlobeMed Partner Organizations. From this link, it's pretty simple. It will take you to this screen where all you'll have to do is provide your name, an email address, and a password, and you're all set. From then on, you can just log into BigMarker, and this will probably be your only community that you're part of to start with, so this will pop up, and the discussion board will be the first thing. So when you first come, you can click on members to see all the members that are part of the organization. From here, you can click on different members. So if I wanted to send a message to Maya, I could click on her face and send a message to her, or you can also send group messages so you can add more people. So if a group of you wanted to start a discussion about a topic that you're particularly interested in, you could have a group message going between you guys. And every time you get a new message, it will appear in the upper right-hand corner by the little envelope. Okay, so the discussion board is probably the most important or feature that you'll be using the most often. It's a place for questions, discussions, exciting updates about your organization, anything you want really. So to do this, all you'll do is click on the bulletin, which is the main flow of, it's kind of like a Facebook news feed, so everything that's happening will be on the bulletin. But if you just click on comment, then you can comment anything you want, ask a question, anything to the network. And then once that appears on the bulletin, other organizations are free to comment and start a chain discussing the topic. And all of the posts on this we'll talk about later, but they're searchable. So if later you want to come back to a conversation, you can just use the search bar on the left-hand side to pull up if you remember a keyword or something, and that will bring up the news feed of that individual topic. So file sharing is another thing that we're really excited about. You'll be able to upload a file in PDF so that we don't have any compatibility issues, and say something about your file. So we'll talk in a minute about how we should name files, but the more specific you are and the more detailed the description you provide with your file, the more easily other people will be able to find it through the search feature. So whether it's a great resource, an interesting article, or an amazing video, all of these things can be posted on BigMarker and shared with the entire network at the same time. And then it will create a searchable database, essentially, of files that partner organizations would like to share with each other. So in order to facilitate an efficient and searchable system for organizing these uploaded files, we encourage you to name your files in the following manner. So a title, and then keywords in parentheses that will come up when you search. So a lot of these will probably, some keywords that may be especially helpful to use when naming your documents are our different project impact areas. So reproductive health, water, sanitation and hygiene, income generation, nutrition, disease prevention, capacity building, things like that would be great keywords. So then if someone's interested in, say, maternal health, they can search that and the files that have to do with that would come up. Okay, another really cool feature is polling. So polling appears just on the bulletin. This is a way to ask a question of the entire network. So for instance, Dr. Jeffrey, you may want to gauge people's interest in attending the World AIDS Day event in Australia. So you could ask here who would be interested in attending, yes or no. And then all partner organizations could respond with their answer, and it would keep track of how many answers either way you have. So whether it's a question that your organization is discussing, or a challenge, or just an interesting opinion question that you'd like to ask the network, you can do it through the poll. Okay, email syncing. So BigMarker has the capability to sync with your email, so that anytime there's a new post on the discussion board or a new file uploaded, or you can set the preferences depending on what you want, but it can come to your email instead of having to log on to the BigMarker platform. So to toggle with these settings, you'll just go to the wheel in the upper right-hand corner, and it'll take you to preferences, and you can just check boxes depending on what you want to come to your email and what you want to have to log on to see. And so finally, searching. Searching will be the way where you can find, if you have a question or you want to look for see if there's a resource about, say, fundraising, you can, on the left-hand side, this is search the bulletin. You can type in your keyword, and then you can choose what you want to search. So you can either search only files, or you can search the discussion board. So you can either look for conversations, or if you only want resources, just search for files. And then all the things that have that keyword somewhere in them will pop up. And that should be a good way to find what you're looking for. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I hope that this presentation was helpful in learning the basics of BigMarker. It's pretty easy to use, and I think you will all find it really useful. We'll have a one-page guide that kind of reiterated these lessons from the slides that we'll email to you within the week. And I'm really excited to see how this BigMarker platform helps to advance all your organizational missions and through collaboration. Thank you. Yeah, so you all received an email in your inbox, and you'll just click on the link and then put in your name, email address, and a password, and then you're all set to go.
Yeah. Okay, my name is Josh. I'm sorry. I have a couple questions. Yeah. So is it just for the partners or are the chapters also getting them?
So that's a question for your chapter advisor, and we'll be discussing that at the Leadership Institute.
Okay. And then are the files that are on there, are they downloadable? So if our partners don't have internet access, can they download it so they can have it later?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all the files will have, I think they're only downloadable actually. And actually, if you're going to upload a file, you should try to save it in PDF form so that it's easily accessible on everybody's computer.
Okay, that was it.
Any other questions?
I just want to ask if you need to post a link to another document. Is it possible to do that?
Yeah, so you can do that through the comments. So if you want to post a link to an article instead of, say, upload the article.
Pay for the private ones. So, you know, if there's something specific that you guys are discussing and your partner says, I can't access this by my email, can you go join the partner organization community so you can download it? You can do that pretty much anytime.
Okay.
Also, maybe last thing about Big Marker is that we are really good friends with the people who are building
Education, training, and certs. At GHETS, he is responsible for coordinating fundraising efforts, ensuring the organization is active and engaged on a variety of social media platforms, and managing the GlobeMed partnership. Before GHETS, Stephen worked for a variety of not-for-profit organizations looking to advance progressive causes in the United States. Additionally, he has worked on various electoral campaigns at all levels of government and as a legislative aide in the Wisconsin State Assembly. He's currently a student at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, where he's studying American Studies and English. Everyone, please welcome Stephen Grant.
Hello. How's everybody doing? I'm the last one, don't worry. I know it's been a lot of information. So I'll try and keep this as brief as I can, partly because I want to give you the opportunity to ask some questions or something. In a partnership with an organization called the Network Towards Unity for Health, the network, or as we call it, just call it the network, which leads to a lot of confusion, as you might imagine. The network is composed of 50 schools, mostly based in the Global South, using a community-oriented primary care model. For those of you who don't know what community-oriented primary care is, the schools that use a community-oriented primary care model, or COPC, train doctors and nurses not just to be medical practitioners, but also to be advocates and organizers for the communities that they're working in. They'll come into a community, and rather than just doing individual diagnoses, they'll do a community diagnosis, and they'll look at what are the social determinants of the health in this community. They'll look at things like poverty and things like water and sanitation. They'll look at food security, and they'll look at education, and they'll make recommendations on how that community can improve those determinants to improve the overall health of the community, and work with them to pressure their local or national governments to give them what they need. So this is a model that we use as well. This is a model we believe in. We believe strongly in ensuring that that we look at the social determinants of health beyond just the medical nature of that any community faces. So I wanted to go through what historically our primary work has been. The first one is grant making. Oh, the font didn't notice that. Sorry. I did it on Mac, and we have better fonts on Mac. So this font is really boring and sad. I'm sorry. Grant making. Most of our grants right now go to health training institutions, though Seed Grants is our effort to expand that. So we have historically been a grant maker, and we're just looking to expand the scope of what kind of grants we give. The second focus is technical support. We believe strongly in the concept of South-to-South exchanges. We think that a lot of other organizations spend a lot of time and money making sure that Western views are represented in development, so we don't spend very much time doing that. Rather, we try to provide the support that institutions need to collaborate with other institutions in the Global South, whether that's intra-African, so one project we're working on right now is trying to get some doctors, or some biochemistry faculty from Makerere University here in Uganda to go to Juba University in South Sudan and help them develop their biochemistry curriculum. But it's also intra-continental. So we've brought doctors from Southeast Asia and Latin America and Africa together to talk about a variety of issues like abortion and women's health and things like that. The last area of our focus is advocacy, and that's where GlobeMed comes in. We recently approved and are in the process of fulfilling a grant to GlobeMed to train the US students how to be effective advocates for their partners in the United States. And our hope is that those students will leverage their power to rework how, as a nation, we approach international development. We're hoping that we'll spend a little bit more time asking questions rather than telling people what they need. We're hoping that those of you here who are working here in Africa, who are from Africa, will have a larger voice in deciding what the funding priorities should be for your communities, rather than, USAID coming in and saying, we really think you need this. So and that ties into COPC as well. So that's our main focus areas. I also quickly wanted to run through what kind of grants we give, because that'll sort of inform how we're going to be approaching seed grants. So the first area of grant making that we do is health workforce development. This is grants to medical training institutions to help them train people. So we have one of our other sort of philosophical goals is to support the training of indigenous medical staff, rather than trying to get Western doctors to come to the Global South and, doctor, and then leave. We don't think that's the most sustainable model, so we're trying to invest in training up staff who will be trained here in the Global South and stay here in the Global South to create a more sustainable health system here. The second area that our grants have been focused on is maternal and child health, and the model that we use for this is going to greatly inform seed grants, and I think it's a very cool model. What we do within the network, there's a group of women who are, a group of women who are part of what's called the Women's Health Task Force. So what we do for our women in health, or maternal and child health grants, is rather than soliciting individual proposals, making decisions, and dispersing the money ourselves, we take about $50,000 every year, and we give it to the Women in Health Task Force, and we say, you decide. Just let us know what the proposals are, let us know how you want to distribute it. Everyone who's applying for it is part of the Women in Health Task Force, so they're applying to their peers. Once those grants are dispersed and the project is done, they have to report that back to that group. They don't report back to us. We know what they said, but we don't have a lot of decision-making power once we give that $50,000 to the task force. Part of that is because we believe that peer model is a better way of evaluating the efficacy of any proposal. The people who are in that Women in Health Task Force know way better what's going to work and what isn't going to work than we do. The last is occupational health. This doesn't really apply to seed grants as much, but we do some work in Nicaragua to train workers to make sure that they are working in safe conditions, so they know how to use chemicals properly, things like that. So, seed grants, why we're actually here, or why I'm here. You're here for a lot of reasons. So it's a new platform using a crowdfunding model. I don't know how many people are familiar with the term crowdfunding. Has anyone heard of Kiva.org? Yeah? Okay, so what Kiva does, and we're sort of stealing this idea and improving on it. What Kiva does is they ask US donors to contribute $25 or something, and take that money, send it to a project that's been proposed to them. It gets complicated, but basically a project that's been proposed to them, and that money is loaned to someone in a developing community so they can start a business, so they can do any number of things, and then that person pays that money back. The US donors don't get interest on it, they just get their $25 back. So we want to take that model of small projects that we can take directly from communities in the global south and put them in front of donors and really anywhere there is a donor. And try and cut out that middleman of the giant NGO that sort of says, this is what we want to do, and then they collect a whole bunch of money, and then they send it here, and that money gets dispersed, not always in the way that it should be dispersed. So we're trying to cut from the beginning of where the money comes from to the end of where the money is supposed to be, and cut everything else out. The difference between us and Kiva is that we're going to do grants, because we don't really want the money back. We think you should keep the money. We don't need it. So these are grants, these will not be loans. So, how it works. Partners, you would come up with a project. That is based on your community's needs. You would send it to us, we'll review it. We're working out the review process right now, but one advantage we're working out exactly what the review process will be. One component to the review process is going to be recommendations from organizations that we already have a relationship with. For example, GlobeMed. So if you're a GlobeMed partner, you're doing good. you got a good shot at being able to get a project on the website, because we trust GlobeMed. We know them, so we know that they won't lead us astray. Next, we put the project online. We try and get people to donate to it. That's going to be a complicated process. That's the toughest part of this whole thing, is getting people to actually donate stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of work to promote the website. We're going to be holding a series of launch parties across the United States once we actually launch this in various cities. We're also going to be looking to organizations like GlobeMed to help us promote the website as a whole. But as a partner and as someone proposing a project, you have some responsibility of promoting this as well. And so that's where, say, your chapters would come in. If you're going to submit a project to us, make sure your chapters know about it, and your chapters can try and publicize it in their communities. But also be creative. Think about what connections you have in places where there might be donors. So, for example, I was talking with Father Lawrence yesterday, and one of the things we were talking about was how he might be able to tap into the Catholic community in San Bernardino, where his partner chapter is going to be. So if you have a connection like that, if you're a priest, for example, see if you have connections in the United States and the Catholic community. If you have family or friends who have moved to the United States, make sure you're talking to them. We're going to do as much as we can to get every project funded. Not every project will be funded, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But we will need to share the responsibility of making sure that your project gets funded. So, once the project is funded, we send you the money, you do what you said you were going to do, and then the last step is all we ask is that you keep us updated on what's happening. So, I want to go through the process in a little more detail. So we're still working out the things on the website, in fact. It's not quite 9 a.m. yet, but in the United States. But we have a great team who has been working on this really, really hard. So this is kind of what the submit a proposal site is going to look like. We're not asking for very long proposals. We're in fact asking for pretty brief proposals. We don't require a lot of technical information because, I don't know, we just don't. We trust you enough to where just tell us what you want to do, tell us how much it's going to be, give us a little budget breakdown, and we should be good. So you would just fill this out on our website. I think we're working on creating a system where you would have your own username and everything. You can log in and track that, but I'm not sure about that yet. But you would submit this, we'll review it, and we'll let you know. now. If it's accepted, then we'll post a project on our site. So this is a little bit of what it's going to look like. These are 3 sample projects. I think only one of these is going to be an actual project, although maybe not. So these are 3 sample projects, and this will give you a good sense of the kind of things we're thinking about. Now, if you have a project idea that doesn't seem to fit with this, that's fine. We trust that you're going to be way more innovative about this stuff than we are, but these are the kinds of things that we've thought might be good. So tablets to provide textbooks for medical students in India, I believe, is where we want to send those. So we would just load the tablets with basically every textbook you would ever need from medical school and send it there. There's a clinic that we helped get started in Nepal. This is an actual project, I think. But they want to put solar panels in, which is a perfect project for this type of website. It's easy, it's simple, it's a clear deliverable. It's not, a $100,000 clinic. It's $5,000 to put in some solar panels so they can make sure they get consistent electricity. So that's the kind of things that we'll be asking for. This is what it will look like to the donors, by the way. So if someone clicks on the project, again, a little bit of formatting issue. There will be this text here. You'll write this. It'll just explain what you want to do, why you want to do it, why you think the community needs this, what do you think it can do for the community. You really want to tell a story. In fact, as I was going through this, I realized a lot of what I would be talking about ties into a lot of the other things that we talked about this weekend. So when they were talking about media, all of that still applies. All of that applies to this. You want to tell a story. You want to have an identifiable individual or community that people who might be donating to this can read it and say, okay, I can relate to that. I understand that. Or even if they can't relate to it, they can say, I get why that's needed. So that whole process of telling a story is very, very important here. We'll, of course, work with you to try and help edit it, make it as desirable as possible, but a lot of that burden is going to be on you to give us the tools we need to help you edit it. So we need you to tell that story yourself. We can work on the details so it's written nicely, but we need you to tell that story. One second. So this little meter, you can see $515 raised, $3,000 needed. You'll tell us how much you need. Donors will be able to come in and see how much is being given. If a project is not fully funded, we will not be able to disperse the money. The donors will get all the money back. And I'm going to talk about that in 1 second as to why that is. But I'll talk about that in a second. In fact, I'll talk about that right now. Sorry, I forgot to look at the next slide. Got a little ahead of myself. So, like I said, we can't guarantee funding. And honestly, there will be projects that won't be funded. And from our perspective, from your perspective, that kind of sucks. From our perspective, that's actually a good thing. We need to make sure that not everything is getting funded. Largely because that process, what we have found makes crowdfunding sites so successful is a sense of urgency, which is why there's a time limit. There's also a technical reason. But one of the reasons that we're putting time limits on things is because there needs to be that sense of urgency. If people don't feel like if this project isn't funded within 3 months, it's not going to happen, there's not going to be, it makes it harder to incentivize people to actually make the donation. That connection between wanting to do something and being passionate about it and saying, I can spare $2,500, $200 for this, and actually clicking donate is a big one. So that urgency helps bridge that gap. So, like I said, not everything will get funded. From our perspective, that's good because that shows that not everything gets funded and it's not just a foregone conclusion. It's going to kind of suck if the project doesn't get funded. We're still working out what to do with that, whether we'll just repost the same project, how we're going to work that out. So we'll let you know about that. So yeah, like I said, there will be time limits. Right now we're thinking that 2 to 3 months is probably the sweet spot for time limits. Everything we've read says that things that last longer than 3 months sort of lose that urgency. Anything shorter than 3 months don't have enough time to mature. So you'll get to pick the time limit, but I would suggest starting off with 3 months and we'll see from there. Okay. So I mentioned this, but I want to talk about it a little bit more. Once the project gets funded, it's going to be key that you keep us updated. So we're going to let you define the metrics to an extent. We'll work with you if they're not quite what we're hoping for, we'll work with you on that. But to a large extent, we're going to let you define the metrics. Because it's your project, you should be able to figure out how to evaluate the process. So for example, the solar panels is a pretty easy one to define. Are there solar panels? If there are solar panels, golden. But there will be things that are a little bit harder to define, and however you think the best way to measure it is generally what we want to default to. All we ask is that you actually do that. So if you're going to tell us you're going to measure something in a certain way, we just need you to actually do that. And we need you to show that you're doing that. Additionally, we want a little bit of a story. We want to be able to tell the donors what their money was doing. That keeps people coming back to seed grants, and that helps everybody. So if your project gets funded and you don't sort of keep up with us and help us tell the people who donated to you what's going on and keep them engaged, that hurts other projects because people lose interest in the website as a whole. Video, pictures, written word, all of it, you should have a priority on doing to the extent of your capacity. Videos are great. I think we talked about that a little bit yesterday too, how important videos are. People love pictures. Seriously, pictures. Like lots of pictures. We posted an update, I wish we had it and I could show you. We posted an update on Rethink Aid that people were very excited about, and I think there were 20 pictures in the post, which is way more than you should do in a blog post, but people really liked it. People love pictures. So make sure you take a lot of pictures. And then just write something up, and again, we'll work with you to make sure that it reads nicely and all of that, but we need you to tell that story so that we can tell the donors that story. Also, it helps you in case you want to come back. You get a project funded, and then a year later you say, oh, we need this project. If people have a relationship with you, they know that you did good work, it's going to be easier the second time to get something funded. So you have an interest in this as well. So, what are we looking for? Projects that demonstrate real need. And by that, I don't mean to say that your projects aren't actually needed. What I mean is we need projects that demonstrate the need. We know that there is a lot of need. We need to see why. We need you to tell us why you need something, not just that you need it. And I'll have an example of that in a minute. Next, we're looking for projects that are well planned and have a strong story with clear deliverables. I talked about this a little bit, but also make sure that you have like a good plan, you've done your research, and you clearly lay out to us. And even if you have to make sure you communicate that with us. So make sure that you communicate how you came with the process of coming to this idea, and then what you want to do once you get the money, how you're actually going to achieve that. And then, like I talked about deliverables, so deliverables a little bit already, deliverables and metrics, it's all kind of the same thing. Last, projects that are under $10,000. Right now, we're thinking $3,000 to $5,000 is probably the sweet spot. That may change. That'll depend on, we have to have the site running for at least a year to really determine what the perfect funding level is, but we want to start at $3,000 to $5,000. If you have something that you want to submit to us that's more than $5,000, great. If it's less than $3,000, fine. But I will say, one thing we do know is that if it's too high, it's just really hard to meet the goal. If it's too low, there's this weird phenomenon where people don't think it's important enough, or there isn't enough investment, or it's going to be too easy to get there, so people don't actually donate to it. It's a very strange phenomenon, but make sure, a $100 project isn't going to work unless you know someone with $100. In which case, just skip us. Just get it from them. So, an unsuccessful proposal would look a little bit like this. My village is far from a water source, and I want 1,000 USD to build a well. This is missing a lot. There's no story here. Besides the fact that you have a village and it needs water. We need a little bit more of a story. We need a little bit more process as to how you decided to get that well, besides the fact that clearly you need water. We need we need a little bit more of an idea of other things that this $1,000 will do. Obviously, it'll build you a well, but what are the other benefits that your community is going to get? That same proposal, we're hoping, would look a little better like this. My village is far from a water source. I spoke to our village elders and we agreed that there is a need to build a well. The elders then appointed people within our village who would be trained to build wells. The project would take 6 months and cost $1,000. I would like funding for this project. Now, we just came up with this really quickly. So this isn't perfect. So don't follow this model like to the letter. But what this does is it shows us a little bit of how you got there. It tells us a little bit of a story, a little bit, it actually would be better with more of a story, but a little bit of a story about what's going on in your community. We see other deliverables, people who will now know how to build wells. That is a useful skill. So there's other benefits besides just the well in this. And it shows that you planned it out, you know how long it's going to take to do this, so you have an idea of how you're actually going to accomplish this. So, I ran very short intentionally because I wanted to leave a lot of time for questions, and then if we run out of questions, leave time for you to come talk to me individually. I will say that we're going to be finishing up the request for proposals in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. So, if you do want to be on the list of people who receive that, please send me an email there, and I'll make sure you get added to that list. If you want to talk to me, but not today, for whatever reason, I will be in Kampala through tomorrow, so you can just give me a call. That Ugandan phone number will not work after Monday. I mean, it'll work, but I won't answer it. So, use the US number if you want to talk on the phone. So, questions? Yeah.
So there are a lot of online donation sites out there. What makes seed grants unique?
One, it's not unique to focus on global health, but it certainly cuts the pool down quite a bit in terms of crowdfunding sites. A lot of crowdfunding sites are more focused towards social entrepreneurship or just straight up entrepreneurship. So that's one thing that sort of slims the herd a bit for us. I think the next difference with our direct peers, we'll say, I don't want to call them competitors, our peers in the crowdfunding world is one, we're not loans, which there are a lot of loan-making groups out there. And two, we're hoping that our process, because our process is going to be so easy, and because our process is so receiver-driven, we're hoping that it'll differentiate us and sort of set us apart as an organization that cares much more about making sure that we're actually fulfilling the actual needs of the community as defined by the community than fulfilling the desires of the donor. And sort of, we're hoping that this will maybe shift the perspective of some of there is a little bit of an education component of this. We're hoping that by participating in this, we'll slowly start to re-educate US and European donors into a more sustainable mindset in terms of aid. Yeah?
And brown members like joking around, but we haven't really been talking about health at all. So Shiko is one of the KUSA mentors at UTANA, and the KUSA project is what GlobeMed Brown and UTANA jointly partner in. It's this mentorship program that Shiko will definitely talk to you guys more about, but I just wanted to introduce her a bit. So before coming to Nairobi, all of us interns were partnered with a specific mentor, and so every Saturday I've been going to her home. She's been really warm and inviting, and then we've been talking to all the girls and with each other about all the different topics on reproductive health and peer pressure and life in general. So she's going to basically tell you more about UTANA and everything that they do.
Hi, morning. Yeah, my name is Shiko. I'm from Kenya, in Nairobi. I'm a member of UTANA Youth Organization. Utena, it's a Kiswahili word which means ungano, tena in full. It's, in English, it means reuniting or a reunion of many groups. So it's a grassroots community-based organization created by youths who provides free popular education teaching communities about HIV, STI, sexual health, reproductive health, sanitation, civic and other related topics. In Utena, we have many programs. We have mentorship, which one of them is Kuza, I'll explain later. Then about another one called Mtaani Initiative. Mtaani is a Swahili word which means hood or neighborhood, which we mentor youth, more than 32 youth groups in Viwandani. We link them with other organizations. We mentor them about business and entrepreneurship. We have after-school support, which is called Girl Education Challenge. We are partnered with an organization called APHRC, which is African Population Health Research Center, which Utena is their partners. We have a civic education. The project is called Amkeni wa Kenya project. It involves women, youth, and people living with disabilities. It promotes cultural, economical, and social rights. We have a youth-friendly service, which we refer youths to the hospital because we find that in Kenya or maybe in where youths are, they are very shy going to the hospital because of maybe if they seem to have any STI. So we are we refer them to the hospital so that they cannot make cues because they are very shy. And we do BCC, that is behavior change communication. We do we call them outreaches. We go to the community and do such things that we have done here. We act them so that we pass message through theater. And our main IGA is the theater performance. That's what pays our bills. Yeah. Kuza project is why we are here. Our partners are GlobeMed. GlobeMed at Brown. Kuza project is a project of girls at the age of 13 to 17, only girls, and it comprises of 10 mentors who are retainer members, and they are all ladies. Yeah, you can see the t-shirts at the back of our girls. GlobeMed at Brown is one of our partners working with retainer in Nairobi, Kenya, to support Kuza program, which aims to raise awareness about sexual health practices and to improve the health, education, and quality of life within our community. This is the first day of our current intern, and the background is our resource center. We have books that have health information or updates on either anything about Africa and anything about the nation. We have them, it's free. You can see our last year, she's called Sarah Smith, our first intern. And our members, they were cooking. We normally have a monthly party every month. Wow. So we cook for the girls and have fun. And these are our beautiful current interns. Yeah, that's introduction. UNAIDS Kenya reports that girls are at highest risk for acquiring HIV. The vulnerability that girls face in Nairobi slums is enhanced by poverty, inadequate health education, traditional gender roles, and cultural practices. Vulnerabilities promote sex at an early age, dependence within relationships, and may lead to survival sex work. Many girls lack knowledge and skills to protect themselves against HIV, STI, early pregnancy, and other sexual-related harms. Yeah, that's our Kuza girls. Those are Kuza girls. One of them being the moderator. Sometimes they moderate their own sessions. Yeah, those are some of our girls, our older girls. They were given, through a partnership with other organizations, they were given those handbooks. They are teens handbooks. We talk about abstinence and about sexual health and family planning. Program recruitment. Members from Utena, the mentors, that's us, recruit girls aged 13 to 17 for life skills groups, and it's only for girls. Mentors reach out to girls in the Duandani Mukuru slums. It's a big populated slum. First year recruitment target was 50, and to establish 5 girls club, which has a maximum of 10 participants, so it makes 50, and we have 2 mentors in each team. As you know, as for Kenyans, in every month there is this. It's a routine for girls that they don't go to school 4 days in a month because of their menses, so they don't have any sanitary towels. So with our partners, we got partners, and then they were given recycling sanitary towels, soaps, and there were 3 panties so that they can be reusing them, so that they cannot miss school or miss Kuza. These were gifts from Sarah and Lillian, because those are some of the girls who didn't come to Kuza, so they had a problem because they didn't have sanitary towels. This is part of the Kuza girls. Mentors lead club participants in discussing around life skills development, adolescent sexual health, and informed decision making. Girls are counseled on benefits of delaying sex, debut, negotiating abstinence with partners and use condoms, and other risk reduction practices. It was a meeting with parents with their kids, because we needed to create a bond between girls and their moms. Because when at a teen age, you know that a mother and a child, maybe they start diverting the love, because the girl thinks that the mother she hates her because of the nagging. Yeah. Culture of saving. Through Kuza, girls are introduced to they were introduced to a local bank named Equity Bank. The bank staff teach the girls about personal financial management, independence, earning, budgeting, and saving. Girls are empowered to create and follow budgets, allowing them to purchase personal items with their parents and otherwise unable to provide. In the about saving, even they taught their parents, and the parents formed groups so that they were being given loan, and it has been successful, because even the parents have started saving, and they have started saving, and it's a good project. Those are the parents being taught by the Equity Bank, and the kids were given those savings tools to be saving like coins, and the highest kid so far, and it has been only for 5 months yet, she has saved like 3,500, and that's a plus to us. That's Chacha. He helped us in class in the monthly bash with our partner from Utena, Canada, Caitlin. Conclusion. Participants' well-being and life skill capacity have improved. Participant knowledge of STI, HIV, and adolescent sexual health has increased, and harm has decreased. Early initiation into sexual activity has been interrupted for those girls not yet active. Newly acquired skills around financial management have enhanced participants' economic security and provided independence. And we thank the GlobeMed, Alisa, Maya, and the rest of the team, and mostly our 6 interns. Thank you very much for supporting us. We hope and we know that Kuza will make a good team as peer educators, and for next year we dream big because we'll be having such activities for the girls like bead making. Yeah, those are our future dreams, but it will be and like that's the discussion. And that was a meeting between the parents and the mentors to know each other. That's our beautiful interns with our beautiful mentors. Thanks very much. Thank everyone. Info us at tutena.org. Our website is www.tutena.org. Thank you very much. And today I'll handle the bill of lunch. I'll give you lunch. Please. Yeah, next. I've cooked something for you today. Yeah. Hope you enjoy. Have a nice day, and I'm glad to welcome the Utena members. They have a dance, and please enjoy. Karibuni.
Yo,
logistics to run by you before I pass it off to Alyssa. Everyone who's taking the bus back to your community, the bus and vans will be taking you downtown to the bus park and National Theater. If you are expecting a reimbursement, see Alyssa outside for lunch, and you'll get it there. Thank you again so very much. Alyssa, at your stage.
I can't believe this is the end. Not the end. The end of the beginning. Thank you so much. I don't really know what to say. I had to let all this process before I could properly thank you all and tell you how I really feel. But I want to leave us with one key takeaway that I want each of you to think about from each of the sessions that we've experienced together. We'll start at the beginning. Charles and Stephen presented about the power of community. I want you to take away that it doesn't take extensive resources, but a clear strategy and strong relationships to strengthen and develop your community. The key takeaway from the cross-sector perspectives panel is that there are many different kinds of resources to advance your organization, and if you have a holistic perspective and a clear path for where you're going, the support will come to you. For the Media for Community Mobilizing panel, as they all said, don't be media shy. Understand your community on its deepest level, and then strategically share the stories with the rest of the world. For cross-community challenges, I think my key takeaway is that you all have a lot to talk about. For the collective learning opportunities, there are many people who are ready to be thought partners and collaborators with you. For the value of mentorship, just a couple things. One, I want to thank my mentor from GlobeMed, Vincent, who was my partner contact when I was co-president of GlobeMed at GW, and who is here and still one of my closest mentors and the big brother I'll never otherwise have without him. I also want to note there's a couple things that Pam said that I want the students to think about as kind of a call to action maybe. She mentioned that she got to spend a couple different times in New York with the Columbia chapter, and they did some resource mapping and whatnot. And the students were the ones to support her in doing that. The students brought her to New York from the national office. They facilitated extensive meetings with her. They did a lot for her in New York, and they helped us a lot with her in Chicago. So facilitate your own mentorship. For the network connection, which Beth presented today, our world has the technology and the capacity to let our global family thrive. Let's take advantage of that. For our Stephen Seed Grant presentations, there are people with a lot of money who believe that you're smarter than them. Take advantage of that too. And from you, Tana, I think we learned all weekend that energy, a lot of energy, art, culture, and health are really the heart of life and happiness. So stay alive. And then I just want to wrap up by reiterating 4 questions that Pam asked you. And I want everybody to write these questions down as I say them, no matter who you are in the audience. And tonight, or when you're on your 12-hour bus ride home, or your 3-day trek back to Northern Togo like Andrew has, or whenever, I want you to take some time to actually write down the answers to these questions and really think about them and let them help you grow. The first question was, who am I? The second question was, what can I do? Thirdly, with whom? And lastly, with what resources? And then after you answer all of them, go back to the first one. Who am I? Because if there's anything I learned through partnership with all of you and through my position that I'm honored that understanding that first question, who are you, will allow all the other pieces to fall into place. So thank you for being here. I'll be sharing a lot more with you by email, hopefully Skype, hopefully in person in the coming weeks, months, and years. But I appreciate more than you can imagine for you being here and giving us your time, attention, and love.
Getting a little bit emotional. It's been an incredible privilege to spend the past 2 days with you guys. Sometimes it feels like, of course, everyone will come from Black countries, and of course students from 13 chapters will arrive. Of course we'll have food to eat, of course you'll have a hotel room to stay in, and of course we'll have really powerful content, and of course we'll get something out of it. None of those things are of course. They took a lot of bold action, an incredible amount of work, and we just need to offer an unbelievable thanks to Alyssa and Beth who made this happen. So can you please express your gratitude for these two?
My name is Rachel Hoffman, and I'm from Washington University in St. Louis, and our partner is Uganda Development and Health Associates, working in Iganga, Uganda. And coming into the forum, I didn't really know what to expect because it was the first one, but what I've really seen and taken away is the power of the communities, not just the GlobeMed network in the US, but also among our partners in East Africa. Because a lot of the partners that we've talked to have similar projects to us, but have been doing it in different ways or have new ideas for something that we can now apply to our partnership and our projects that we do with UDA. And then another thing that I've really taken away is the power and the importance of making your partnership and your partner's work visible, both to the community in the US who you're trying to get money from to fundraise for these projects, but also within East Africa itself. It's so important for our partners to have each other as a resource and to be able to work together, especially when they're doing similar projects. And so the power of making yourself visible in order to talk to new people, get new ideas, and also just express yourself to your funders and to your peers to show what your goals are and where you want to go is very important. And to students who are coming to the forum in the future, really take advantage of other people who have been here longer than you have with their partners, and also those who are just starting new partnerships, to learn from them what their goals are, how they plan on taking Grow back to their communities in their chapters, and also really allowing yourself to be free to talk to other organizations and get ideas to bring back to your partnership and to your partner organization. Thank you.
This week I learned a lot from GlobeMed partners and students. I learned that collaboration really is everything we thought it was. The people have a lot to share, and everybody has unique skills and experiences that are valuable to the rest of us. I learned that our partners are the foundation of our organization. They're our mentors, our leaders, the people that we look up to, and the people we go to seek the truth and to seek advice. Going forward, I hope a couple things. I hope that our partners and students can listen to what Maya said today and believe that holding true to your promises and building integrity into each aspect of your life, especially your relationship with yourself and your relationship with your partners, no matter who that is the foundation of life. If we don't believe that we can trust each other and we don't hold true to the promises that we make, then everything else will not be worth it. I also hope that we can share with our other partners and students around the world in the way that we've shared here this weekend with students from 13 university GlobeMed chapters and 25 partner organizations from 5 countries on the African continent. I hope that ultimately all of our partner representatives can be in the same place from 55 organizations on 4 continents in 19 countries. I hope that more students can be sharing with them and that all of us together can actually change the systems that are creating poverty and inequities in our world. I really appreciate everybody coming together this weekend. It's not an easy thing to do. Travel can be tiring and collaboration can be confusing, but we proved that it's worth it. And I hope that all of the students across the network will take this weekend as a call to action to be bolder next year by staying authentic to themselves and really digging deeper into the work that should be done to improve our global community and doing it in a way that, like I said, is fueled with integrity and love. So without this video, I would not be able to share the amazing things that happened here this weekend. AFSU employs a model where they use video to tell the stories that are happening across communities, whether it's the GlobeMed community here in Kampala or one of our other partner communities around the world. Without the videos that they create, so many stories would be lost and people's lives might not be changed because their stories would never be told. So I really appreciate AFSU's presence this weekend. We'll have everything documented in high quality and with a lot of passion behind the video. So I appreciate it, and I hope that we can continue making videos that will change the face of Uganda, East Africa, Africa, and the world going forward.
Hi, my name is Parker Webb, and I'm a student at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. That's where I've been internal co-president of our GlobeMed chapter the past few years. I also had the pleasure to be the MC for our first ever partner forum, GlobeMed's East Africa Forum. More than anything, I think GlobeMed is about building human relationships, and this forum allowed people from all over Africa and the United States to come together and build relationships that will last for years. I think that this is the strongest part of our model, and I've been so thankful to be able to come here and meet so many new people and start so many new relationships around the world. Thank you.
My name is Katie Stewart, and I'm here at the East Africa Forum on behalf of the American Society for Microbiology. This year at the first ever East Africa Forum, I learned a lot about networking and collaboration. We heard from many panelists about the empowerment of partnerships and how important they can be, and I think what I'll take away most is how to connect with other networks to form partnerships across many different disciplines to achieve a common goal. Everyone here has a lot of energy and was very excited about the ability to make change in a community for health purposes, and I think that that's a big lesson to take away, using partnerships and also forming mentors and making mentors to help you in the future. So I'm very glad that I was able to be a part of this conversation, and I'll definitely learn from this and learn how to use partnerships in any aspect of my life. Thank you.
I'm Brian Hansen, and I'm the chairman of the GlobeMed board. I've been involved with GlobeMed since it was created at Northwestern University, where I teach political science and work with student groups who are interested in social change, global health, and assisting communities around the world. At this forum, I thought it was a remarkable opportunity to learn about the organizations that are partnered with GlobeMed and the really inspiring work that's being done in those partner organizations. And one of the things that was most striking for me was the common commitment to finding the skills, the talents, the capabilities within the communities and for the communities, there's individuals and people working together to bring about change. And I think it's extremely important, particularly for American students, to see these examples and learn from these organizations, because too often in the United States the attitude is that there are nothing but problems gaps, difficulties in the developing world, and that our role from the North is to come in and fill those gaps. And I think what came through so clearly in the conference was the importance of partnership, and the partnership runs in two directions. And the students had an opportunity to see organizations and to meet people who are really transforming their communities with their work. And I hope that this also created an opportunity for our partner organizations throughout Africa to be able to meet one another, to be able to learn from one another, to network with each other, share ideas, share resources, and also hopefully to share some inspiration with one another. I think some of the things that I was most impressed with at the conference was the passion that is shared by both the students as well as the partner organizations. And I hope that the students provide energy as well as ideas and partnership with the organizations. I hope they share inspiration with them as well for these organizations to be able to continue with their work and to be successful in creating permanent change within their communities. Anything else? One of the things I learned from this conference is the importance of being able to use video to communicate your message and what you're doing as an organization. I'm an academic, so I read books all the time. And I am not very skilled at communicating through visual means. But in order to make an emotional connection with people, whether they be students who want to be partners with the organization, whether it's funders, it's essential to be able to use video to show people the communities in which you're working, to be able to make emotional connections so that people care about those communities and want to act to try to help to create change. And I think the other thing that can be done with video, and I saw examples of here and learned about many more as I was talking to people, was the ability to show and demonstrate the impact that people's work is having, the work of organizations are having. It's one thing to see pictures or to read about organizations, but there's nothing better than be able to see the work of the organizations and go into the communities personally. But video creates a way of sharing those stories, sharing people's lives, sharing the successes in a way that can connect, create an emotional connection, and really motivate people to take action and not just simply to passively learn, to passively see situations that they might not think are very relevant.
It's not going to be very much, but it will be. I would consider myself a vegetarian.
I think we should send them in the field with
Because when he was there,
We've tried to partner with them, but a lot of them are like, oh, they're not a global health. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's amazing. Cool. I know you're ready.
Let me just pull up her notes. Okay. Can you just say your name?
My name?
Mm-hmm.
Pamela Mitch.
Okay.
Yes.
And can you tell me the name of your organization and where it's based?
It's Gulu Women Economic Development and Globalization. It's based in northern Uganda. We are in Gulu district, but we work in 3 other districts in the north.
Can you go into a little more detail about what you do?
We work on about 5 thematic areas. One core one is we are women organization, so we do women rights and women empowerment programs, where we support grassroots women, we train them on their rights. We do also human rights education program for women. And then we also work on access to justice, where we work with human rights paralegals who support referral of cases. We also do health. In our health program, we work on HIV and AIDS awareness and prevention integrated into maternal health and newborn. We also work on peace building. One of our peace building modules is promoting Resolution 1325, where we train women also as peacemakers, agents of change, and we refer them also to peace talk and do mediation. We also have activity with war victims, which is psychosocial support programs. We work with war victims. We do physical rehabilitation. We do economic empowerment. We do peace building integrated in it to promote a peaceful coexistence. And we do economic empowerment. This is targeting aspects of economic security, livelihood opportunity, village saving and loan associations. This is to improve on financial well-being for every household. And then we also work on advocacy and research, where we do research on health issues particularly, and then also we do a lot of advocacy work, which involves leadership and good governance, and also social accountabilities.
Great. Have you received aid?
Yeah. We've been funded by American Refugee Council, which is funding our prevention to sexual and gender-based violence. And then also we are funded by OSI, which is OSF, apparently Open Society Foundation. In the US, it's commonly known as Soros Foundation. They've been supporting us for over 4 years on a human rights program. We are also funded by UN Women, where we work on shelter preventions for survivors. We are also funded by UNFPA. In UNFPA, we are doing a project that prevents sexual and gender-based violence. We are also funded by Independent Development Fund, which is funding sustainable human rights education for war-affected women. And we are also raising funds with GlobeMed. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little, actually, 1 second, I'm going to move. My other camera is down, so I'm just going to... Could you tell me a little bit about how that aid that you've received, particularly Western aid, has impacted your work either negatively or positively?
Yeah, we have so many stories to tell. When we look at women empowerment program, the people we have empowered, the women grassroots groups, the women leaders, they have now become an empowered community that can speak for themselves, they can demand for their rights, and we have some numbers of women that have taken up leadership positions. Talking about the health project that we are integrating, HIV awareness into PMTCT and ANC preventions. We have 76 babies that we are proud of for the last 3 to 4 years. They were born healthy, not infected, but they were born by women living with HIV and AIDS. We have human rights paralegals, so human rights volunteers, that are trained by us who are working in community, promoting rights, referring cases to court, and they always represent the poor community who are voiceless in court. We also have our projects impacting on building capacity of grassroots network. We are known for using grassroots network to work on their own issues. We established around 78 different grassroots networks, in which network there are around 30 people. So it's a huge network with different names. They call them RATs. These are Rapid Action Team, who run around to protect people and promote rights. And then we also have CATs. CATs are community activists. Community activists are duty bearers, they are referral actors, and they communicate awareness raising information at grassroots level. We use what is called SASA methodology. It's a methodology where community activists are taught on how to create awareness on sexual and gender-based violence and HIV and AIDS prevention within their own community at their own time. We have over 20 community activists who reach out to community at any time. They go to water well and they speak with people fetching water. They go to marketplaces and they create awareness. They go to gardens where people are farming. They will also farm with the people together, but they will be passing on awareness raising. Each community activist reach out to 15 persons in a week. In a month, that is a great number. In a year, we are already in 1,000. So these are some great stories that we keep on talking about. Empowering community, enabling community to take charge of their own issues, take responsibility of their own development, design and package information that is user-friendly and can be used in their own community. Educate their own community members on issues concerning health, rights, and also concerning governance and leadership. And this is the things that is making us appreciate our work when we see results. And also, I have a story that I should not miss to tell you, is that one of our human rights volunteers was trained on advocacy, lobby, and networking. And this community human rights volunteer went back to his own community, mobilized people in his area where there are no education, it's hard to reach area, children don't go to school. And he said, a community who are not educated cannot demand their rights. He started teaching children under tree. Later on, he built a community school where community brought their own materials like grasses, timbers, and they make sure that they put in place a very strong community school. This human rights volunteer continue advocating for people's rights, but also advocating to right to education. Sometimes back, he continued lobbying, and one of a very powerful donor came to that community, found children under the tree, and found some children in few grass-touched classrooms where this human rights volunteer was teaching primary 1 after primary 4 himself different lessons. And then this donor decided now to build a very huge, strong community school. Now the school has over 2,000 children and they're already sitting exam. So this came as a result of working with human rights volunteers. One of the human rights volunteers who is a disabled person, we brought him to promote the right of the people with disability. He went to Rotary Club and to demand for help for fellow disabled women who are out there in community based in the hard-to-reach areas within the IDP sector. They sat within the satellite areas. These are women who didn't have access to movement. She lobbied for 20 wheelchairs from Rotary Club and came and distributed to her community. So many things are happening by the network that we are teaching them and we are training them, and they are the one that is now promoting and supporting their own community. We see a lot of sustainability in this approach.
Great. I have one last question.
Yes.
in the United States, we're having a lot of discussion right now about how we can make sure obviously our organization has some thoughts on the subject, but we're wondering if you could make recommendations to us as to what's the best way for us to help you. What would they be?
I think the best way to help community in affected countries, so to help me or to help people in Africa by international aid, is to work with the people and to allow the people develop programs to develop the programs that will solve their own problem. Let them be their own solutions. They can mention what solutions. We have been suffering from top-bottom approaches, where programs are designed at international level. It has to be disseminated at local level. And at the time of designing this program, people who are at local level, at grassroots level, were not involved, and they are not included as a priority to have their voice in such approaches. Sometimes it's very difficult. It imposes vulnerability in using finances, and it makes the local institutions work in a box. So I would advise working with the views of the people in the conflict affected, or maybe in the national African countries, involving their voice, linking up with them, and let them design solutions which is best known to them to solve their problem. These solutions will be sustainable. Let them also be their capacity be built technically. We are living in a world where there are no infrastructures, there are no technologies, there are no innovations, and we can move at the same page. And this is affecting development. So if you design programs that require a certain level of technology, then you also need to disseminate similar approaches at the ground. So that means you need to either do some technical support or capacity building or training so that such technology can be applied at the same time. But sometimes we do not have proper technologies or proper input or innovation to work to sort out the problem that we have, and that delay the results.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Next year, construction of the GlobeMed.